Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about how to find a possible pair of integer values for a and c so that the equation ax squared minus 6x plus c has either no real solutions, one, or two real solutions. So recall that an equation in general, a quadratic equation in general, has no real solutions if the discriminant, in other words, b squared minus 4ac, and in other words, the value that's beneath the square root, right, that's under our square root sign in the quadratic formula, if it is less than zero, right, if it's a negative number, that means there's no real solutions. Now, it would still have two complex solutions, but no real solutions, right? If this was to have one real solution, right, then it would be b squared minus 4ac would have to equal to 0. And if it has two solutions, b squared minus 4ac would be greater than 0. So essentially what we need to do is find possible values for a and c that make these things happen. Now, of course, there's not just one answer for these. There's many different answers that we could put for these. I suppose with the exception of b, right? Because there's really only one value that it can be. It has to be 0. But even then, there may be plenty of ways to make a and c come together to give us that as well. So I suppose there's many different answers for all of these, but especially the no real solutions and two real solutions one have many correct answers. All right, so starting with a, no real solutions, we would need b squared minus 4ac to be less than 0. That means that negative 6 squared minus 4ac would have to be less than 0. That means 36 minus 4ac would have to be less than 0. And that means that negative 4ac would have to be less than negative 36. And then my last step is I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. And recall that when we're doing inequality signs, when we're using inequalities, that the sign flips whenever we multiply or divide a negative number through our inequality sign. And so when I divided both sides by negative 4 in this last step, I also flipped the sign from a less than sign to a greater than sign. So basically, this is saying that the condition that must be met is that a times c must be greater than 9. Whenever a times c is greater than 9, then that means what? Well, that means that we have no real solutions. So all I need to do is come up with an a equals something and c equals something such that they're greater than 9, right? So I'm going to say for my pairing, a equals 5 and c equals 2, right? Because 5 times 2 is 10, and that's greater than 9. However, any two numbers that you choose here that multiply to something greater than 9 would be a correct answer. So that's what I mean when I say there's many correct answers, right? Now for b, it's pretty similar, except that for b, we need this to be equal to 0. So that means that a times c must be equal to 9. So that's what I meant when I said, well, there's going to be, less kind of variability in answers for this one. People are probably either going to go with 1 and 9 or 3 and 3, although you could use fractions or decimals if you want to, I suppose, in general, although I think this one they might have wanted integer values. Yeah, here they just wanted integer values. And so actually in this case, there's actually quite a limited number of integer values we could go with here. I'm going to just go with a equals 1 and c equals to 9. However, any two integer values that multiply to 9, whether it's 3 times 3, whether it's 1 times 9, negative 1, negative 9, negative 3, negative 3, any of those would work. And I do think actually, given that they only want integer values here, that those four does encompass the full thing. That is a comprehensive list. Okay, and then for C, AC must be less than 9, right? Because b squared minus 4ac must be greater than 0 for there to be two real solutions. And so therefore, a times c must be less than 9. So any a and c value we pick is fine as long as they multiply to something less than 9. So I'm going to say a is 2 and b is 3, because 2 times 3 is 6, and that's less than 9, right? But again, any a and c value, I wrote b, sorry, this should be c. Any a and c values that multiply to something less than 9 are acceptable here. All right, well, that is it for this one. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and we will see you for the next one.